Shalom, hello, good morning, good evening, wherever you are from Atlanta, Georgia. It's your sister ChayaFyah with another episode of Sister for Sister Storytime. Today we are continuing the reading from the book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. The current chapter is the Qabbalah, the Secret Doctrine of Israel. If you would like to get the book for yourself, it is listed in the description box. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So, Albert Pike, quoting from Transcendental Magic, thus sums up the importance of Kabbalism as a key to Masonic esotericism. Let me share my screen. One is filled with admiration on penetrating into the sanctuary of the Qabbalah, at seeing a doctrine so logical, so simple, and at the same time so absolute. The necessary union of ideas and signs, the consecration of the most fundamental realities by the primitive characters, the trinity of words, letters, and numbers, a philosophy simple as the alphabet, profound and infinite as the word, theorems more complete and luminous than those of Pythagoras, a theology summed up by counting on one's fingers, an infinite which can be held in the hollow of an infant's hand, 10 ciphers and 22 letters, a triangle, a square, and a circle. These are all the elements of the Qabbalah. These are the elementary principles of the written word, reflection of that spoken word that created the world. Hebrew theology was divided into three distinct parts. The first was the law, the second was the soul of the law, and the third was the soul of the law. The law was taught to all the children of Israel. The Mishna, or the soul of the law, was revealed to the rabbins and teachers, but the Qabbalah, the soul of the law, was cunningly concealed, and only the highest initiates among the Jews were instructed in its secret principles. According to certain Jewish mystics, Moses ascended Mount Sinai 3 times, remaining in the presence of God 40 days each time. During the first 40 days, the tables of the written law were delivered to the prophet. During the second 40 days, he received the soul of the law. And during the last 40 days, God instructed him in the mysteries of the Qabbalah, the soul of the law. Moses concealed in the first 4 books of the Pentateuch the secret instructions that God had given him, and for centuries, students of Kabbalism have sought therein the secret doctrine of Israel. As the spiritual nature of man is concealed in his physical body, so the unwritten law, the Mishnah and the Qabbalah, is concealed within the written teachings of the Mosaic Code. Qabbalah means the secret or hidden tradition, the unwritten law, and according to an early rabbi, it was delivered to man in order that through the aid of its abstruse principles, he might learn to understand the mystery of both the universe about him and the universe within him. The origin of Kabbalism is a legitimate subject for controversy. Early initiates of the Kabbalistic mysteries believed that its principles were first taught by God to a school of his angels before the fall of man. The angels later communicated the secrets to Adam so that through the knowledge gained from an understanding of its principles, fallen humanity might regain its lost estate. The angel Raziel was dispatched from heaven to instruct Adam in the mysteries of the Qabbalah. Different angels were employed to initiate the succeeding patriarchs in this difficult science. Tapiel was the teacher of Shem, Raphael of Isaac, Metatron of Moses, and Michael of David. Christian D. Ginsburg has written, from Adam it passed over to Noah and then to Abraham, the friend of God, who emigrated with it to Egypt, where the patriarch allowed a portion of this mysterious doctrine to ooze out. It was in this way that the Egyptians obtained some knowledge of it, and the other Eastern nations could introduce it into their philosophical systems. Moses, who was learned in all the wisdom of Egypt, was first initiated into it in the land of his birth, but became most proficient in it during his wanderings in the wilderness, when he not only devoted to it the leisure hours of the whole 40 years, but received lessons in it from one of the angels. Moses also initiated the 70 elders into the secrets of this doctrine, and they again transmitted them from hand to hand. Of all who formed the unbroken line of tradition, David and Solomon were most initiated into the Kabbalah. According to Eliphaz Levi, the three greatest books of Kabbalism are the Cepher Yetzera, the Book of Formation, the Cepher HaZohar, the Book of Splendor, and the Apocalypse, the Book of Revelation. The dates of the writing of these books are by no means thoroughly established. Kabbalists declare that the Cepher Yetzera was written by Abraham. Although it is by far the oldest of the Kabbalistic books, it was probably from the pen of Rabbi Akiba, AD 120. The Cepher HaZohar presumably was written by Simeon ben Jokai, a disciple of Akiba. Rabbi Simeon was sentenced to death about AD 161 by Lucius Verus, co-regent of the Emperor Mark Aurelius Antoninus. He escaped with his son and, hiding in a cave, transcribed the manuscript of the Zohar with the assistance of Elias, who appeared to them at intervals. Simeon was 12 years in the cave, during which time he evolved the complicated symbolism of the greater face and the lesser face. While discoursing with disciples, Rabbi Simeon expired, and the lamp of Israel was extinguished. His death and burial were accompanied by many supernatural phenomena. The legend goes on to relate that the secret doctrines of Kabbalism had been in existence since the beginning of the world, but that Rabbi Simeon was the first man permitted to reduce them to writing. 1,200 years later, the books which he had compiled were discovered and published for the benefit of humanity by Moses de Leon. The probability is that Moses de Leon himself compiled the Zohar about AD 1305, drawing his material from the unwritten secrets of earlier Jewish mystics. The Apocalypse, accredited to St. John the Divine, is also of uncertain date, and the identity of its author has never been satisfactorily proved. Because of its brevity and because it is the key to Kabbalistic thought, the Cepher Yetzera is produced in full in this chapter. So far as is known, the Cepher HaZohar has never been completely translated into English, but it can be obtained in French. S.L. McGregor Mathers translated 3 books of the Zohar into English. The Zohar contains a vast number of philosophical tenets, and a paraphrase of its salient points is embodied in this work. The 72 Names of God. This rare cut shows the name of God in 72 languages inscribed upon the petals of a symbolic flower. Above the circle are the 72 powers of God, according to the Hebrew Qabbalah. Below 2 trees, that on the left bearing the symbols of the planets, and that on the right, the signs of the zodiac and the names of the tribes of Israel. The esoteric doctrines of the Kabbalah are in alignment with the secret teachings of all the schools of philosophy, but the method by which its secrets are revealed to the wise and concealed from the ignorant is most unusual. As the religious world interprets its scriptures with 20th century educational facilities, it becomes ever more apparent that the sacred books were not historical documents, but that the kings, sages, prophets, and saviors whom Bible students revered for ages as once existing personalities are in reality only personified attributes of man himself. Few realize the influence exerted by Kabbalism over medieval thought, both Christian and Jewish. It taught that there existed within the sacred writings a hidden doctrine which was the key to those writings. This is symbolized by the crossed keys upon the papal crest. Scores of learned minds began to search for those arcane truths by which the race should be redeemed, and that their labor was not without its reward. Their subsequent writings have demonstrated the theories of Kabbalism are inextricably interwoven with the tenets of alchemy, Hermeticism, Rosicrucianism, and Freemasonry. The words Kabbalism and Hermeticism are now considered as synonymous terms covering all the arcana and esotericism of antiquity. The simple Kabbalism of the first centuries of the Christian era gradually evolved into an elaborate theological system which became so involved that it was next to impossible to comprehend its dogma. The Kabbalists divided the uses of their sacred science into 5 sections. The natural Kabbalah was used solely to assist the investigator in his study of nature's mysteries. The analogical Kabbalah was formulated to exhibit the relationship which exists between all things in nature, and it revealed to the wise that all creatures and substances were one in essence, and that man, the little universe, was a replica and miniature of God, the great universe. The contemplative Kabbalah was evolved for the purpose of revealing through the higher intellectual faculties the mysteries of the celestial spheres. By its aid, the abstract reasoning faculties cognized the measureless planes of infinity and learned to know the creatures existing within them. The Astrological Kabbalah instructed those who studied its lore in the power, magnitude, and actual substance of the sidereal bodies, and also revealed the mystical constitution of the planet itself. The 5th, or magical Kabbalah, was studied by such as desired to gain control over the demons and subhuman intelligences of the invisible worlds. It was also highly valued as a method of healing the sick by talismans, amulets, charms, and invocations. The Cepher Yetzera, according to Adolf Frank, differs from other sacred books in that it does not explain the world and the phenomena of which it is the stage by leaning on the idea of God or by setting itself up as the interpreter of the supreme will. This ancient work rather reveals God by estimating his manifold handiwork. In preparing the Cepher Yetzera, for the consideration of the reader, 5 separate English translations have been compared. The resulting form, while it embodies the salient features of each, is not a direct translation from any one Hebrew or Latin text. Although the purpose was to convey the spirit rather than the letter of the ancient document, there are no wide deviations from the original rendition. So far as known, the first translation of the Cepher Yetzera into English was made by the Reverend Dr. Isidore Kalish in 1877. In this translation, the Hebrew text accompanies the English words. The work of Dr. Kalish has been used as the foundation of the following interpretation, but material from other authorities has been incorporated, and many passages have been rewritten to simplify the general theme. At hand also was a manuscript copy in English of the Book of the Kabbalistic Art by Dr. John Pister. The document is undated, but judging from the general type of the writing, the copy was made during the 18th century. The 3rd volume used as a reference was the Cepher Yetzera by the late Wyn Westcott, Magus of the Rosicrucian Society of England. The 4th was the Cepher Yetzera, or the Book of Creation, according to the translation in the Sacred Books and Early Literature of the East, edited by Professor Charles F. Horn. The 5th was a recent publication, the Book of Formation by Knut Stenring, containing an introduction by Arthur Edward Waite. At hand also were 4 other copies, 2 German, 1 Hebrew, and 1 Latin. Certain portions of the Cepher Yetzera are considered older and more authentic than the rest, but the controversy regarding them is involved and non-productive that it is useless to add further comment. The doubtful passages are therefore included in the document at the points where they would naturally fall. The Cepher Yetzera, the Book of Formation, Chapter 1. Yah, the Lord of hosts, the living Elohim, King of the universe, omnipotent, the merciful and gracious God, supreme and extolled, dweller in the height, whose habitation is eternity, who is sublime and most holy, engraved his name and ordained or formed and created the universe in 32 mysterious paths or stages of wisdom or science by 3 seraphim, namely numbers, letters, and sound, which are in him one and the same. The Tetragrammaton. By arranging the 4 letters of the great name, IHVH, in the form of the Pythagorean tetrasis, the 72 powers of the great name of God are manifested. The key to the problem is as follows. I equals 10, HI equals 5 plus 10 or 15, VHI equals 6 plus 5 plus 10 or 21, HVHI 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 10 equals 26. Added together, the great name of God equals 72 or 9. 2. 10 Sephiroth, 10 properties from the Ineffable One, and 22 letters are the foundation of all things. Of these 22 letters, 3 are called mothers, some double and 12 simple, I guess. 3. The 10 numbers Sephiroth out of nothing are analogous to the 10 fingers and the 10 toes. 5 over against 5. In the center between them is the covenant with the only one God. In the spiritual world, it is the covenant of the voice, the word, and in the corporeal world, the circumcision of the flesh, the right of Abraham. 4. 10 are the numbers of the Sephiroth out of nothing. 10, not 9. 10, not 11. Comprehend this great wisdom, understand this knowledge, and be wise. Inquire into the mystery and ponder it. Examine all things by means of the 10 Sephiroth. Restore the word to its creator and lead the creator back to his throne again. He is the only formator, and beside him there is no other. His attributes are 10 and are without limit. 5. The 10 ineffable Sephiroth have 10 infinitudes, which are as follows. The infinite beginning and the infinite end, the infinite good and the infinite evil, the infinite height and the infinite depth, the infinite east and the infinite west, the infinite north and the infinite south. And over them is the Lord superlatively one, the faithful King. He rules over all in all from his holy habitation for ages of ages. 6. The appearance of the 10 spheres, or Sephiroth, out of nothing is as a flash of lightning or a sparkling flame, and they are without beginning or end. The word of God is in them when they go forth and when they return. They run by his order like a whirlwind and prostrate themselves before his throne. The 10 Sephiroth have their end linked to their beginning, and their beginning linked to their end, co-joined as the flame is wedded to the live coal. For the Lord is superlatively one, and to him there is no second. Before one, what can you count? 8. Concerning the number 10 of the spheres of existence, or Sephiroth out of nothing, seal up your lips and guard your heart as you consider them. And if your mouth opens for utterance and your heart turns towards thought, control them, returning to silence. So it is written, and the living creatures ran and returned, Ezekiel 1:14. And on this wise was the covenant made with us. 9. These are the 10 emanations of number out of nothing. First, the spirit of the living Elohim, blessed and more than blessed be the living Elohim of ages. His voice, his spirit, and his word are the Holy Spirit. Second, he produced air from the spirit and in the air. He formed and established 22 sounds, the letters. 3 of them were fundamental or mothers, 7 were double, and 12 were simple or single. But the spirit is the first one and above all. Third, primordial water he extracted from the air. He formed therein 22 letters and established them out of mud and loam, making them like a border, putting them up like a wall, and surrounding them as with a rampart. He poured snow upon them, and it became earth, as it reads. He said to the snow, Be thou earth. Fourth, fire or ether he drew from forth from the water. He engraved and established by it the throne of glory. He fashioned the seraphim, the Ophanim, and the holy living creatures, cherubim, as his ministering angels. And with of these three he formed his habitation, as it reads, who made his angels spirits, his ministers of flaming fire. Fifth, he selected three consonants, IHV, from the simple ones, a secret belonging to the three mothers or first elements, AM, Shin, air, water, fire, or ether. He sealed them with his spirit and fashioned them into a great name, and with this sealed the universe in 6 directions. He turned towards the above and sealed the height with I, H, and V. Sixth, he turned towards the below and sealed the depth with HIV. Seventh, he turned forward and sealed the east with VIH. Eighth, he turned backward and sealed the west with VHI. Ninth, he turned to the right and sealed the south with IVH. 10th, he turned to the left and sealed the north with HVI. Note, this arrangement of the letters of the great name is according to the Reverend Dr. Isidore Kalish. 10, these are the 10 ineffable existences out of nothing. From the spirit of the living God emanated air, from the air, water, from the water, fire or ether, from the fire, the height and the depth, the east and the west, the north and the south. Chapter 2. 1. There are 22 basic sounds and letters. 3 are the first elements, water, air, fire, fundamentals or mothers. 7 are double letters and 12 are simple letters. The 3 fundamental letters have as their basis the balance. At one end of the scale are the virtues and at the other the vices, placed in equilibrium by the tongue. Of the fundamental letters, M is mute like the water. Shin hisses like fire, a reconciling breath between them. 2, the 22 basic letters having been designed, appointed, and established by God, he combined, weighed, and exchanged them, each with the others, and formed by them all beings which are in existence, and all which will be formed in time to come. 3, he established 22 basic letters formed by the voice and impressed upon the air by the breath. He set them to be audibly uttered in 5 different parts of the human mouth, namely gutturals, palatals, linguals, dentals, labials. The Hebrew letters according to the Cepher Yetzera. In the central triangle are the 3 mother letters from which come forth the 7 double letters, the planets and the heavens. Surrounding the black star are the signs of the zodiac symbolized by the 12 simple letters. In the midst of this star is the invisible throne of the most ancient of the ancients, the supreme definitionless creator. 4, he fixed the 22 basic letters in a ring or sphere like a wall with 231 gates and turned the sphere forward and backward. Turned forward, the sphere signified good. When reversed, evil. 3 letters may serve for an illustration. There is nothing better than ONG, pleasure, joy, and nothing worse than NGO, plague, or sorrow. 5, how was it all accomplished? He combined, weighed, and changed the or Aleph with all the other letters in succession, and all the others again with A, and all again with B, and so with the whole series of letters. Hence, it follows that there are 231 formations or gates through which the powers of the letters go forth. Every creature and every language proceeded from one name and the combinations of its letters. 6, he created a reality out of nothing. He called the non-entity into existence and hewed colossal pillars from intangible air. This has been shown by the example of combining the letter A with all the other letters and all the other letters with A. By speaking, he created every creature and every word by the power of one name. As an illustration, consider the 22 elementary substances from the primitive substance of A. The production of every creature from the 22 letters is proof that they are in reality the 22 parts of one living body. Chapter 3. 1. The first three elements, the mother letters, resemble a balance in one scale virtue and in the other vice, placed in equilibrium by the tongue. The three mothers enclose a great, wonderful, and unknown mystery and are sealed by 6 wings or elementary circles, namely air, water, fire, each divided into an active and a passive power. The mothers gave birth to the fathers, the progenitors, and these gave birth to the generations. 3. God appointed and established 3 mothers, combined, weighed, and exchanged them, forming by them 3 mothers in the universe, in the year, and in man, male and female. 4. The 3 mothers in the universe are air, water, and fire. Heaven was created from the elementary fire or ether. The earth, comprising sea and land from the elementary water, and the atmospheric air from the elementary air or spirit, which establishes the balance among them. Thus were all things produced. 5. The 3 mothers produce in the year heat, coldness, and the temperate state. Heat was created from fire, coldness from water, and the temperate state from air, which equilibrates them. 6. The 3 mothers produce in man, male and female, breast, abdomen, and head. The head was formed from the fire, the abdomen from the water, and the breast or thorax from air, which places them in equilibrium. 7. God let the letter A predominate in primordial air, crowned it, combined it with the other 2, and sealed the air in the universe, the temperature state in the year, and the breast in man. 8. He let the letter M predominate in primordial water, crowned it, combined it with the other 2, and sealed the earth in the universe, including land and sea, coldness in the year, and the abdomen in man. 9. He let the letter Shin predominate in primordial fire, crowned it, combined it with the other 2, and sealed heaven in the universe, heat in the year, and the head of man. Chapter 4. The 7 double letters B, G, D, K, P, R, and the TH have a duplicity of pronunciation or 2 voices, aspirated and unaspirated, namely, they serve as a model of softness and hardness, strength and weakness. 2. The 7 double letters symbolize wisdom, riches, fertility, life, power, peace, and grace. 3. The 7 double letters also signify the antithesis to which human life is exposed. The opposite of wisdom is foolishness, of riches, poverty, of fertility, sterility, of life, death, of power, servitude, of peace, war, and of beauty, deformity. 4. The 7 double letters point out the 6 dimensions: height, depth, east and west, north and south, and the holy temple in the center, which sustains them all. 5. The double letters are 7 and not 6. They are 7 and not 8. Reflect upon this fact, search into it, and reveal its hidden mystery, and place the Creator on his throne again. 6. The 7 double letters, having been designed, established, purified, weighed, and exchanged by God, he formed of them 7 planets in the universe, 7 days in the year, and 7 gateways of the senses in man. From these 7, he also produced 7 heavens, 7 earths, and 7 Sabbaths. Therefore, he loved 7 more than any other number beneath his throne. 7. The 7 planets in the universe are Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Moon. The 7 days in the year are the 7 days of the week. Possibly the 7 creative days are meant. The 7 gateways in man are 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, and the mouth. Note, Newt Stenring differs from other authorities in his arrangement of the planets and days of the week in the following 7 stanzas. Gersher has still a different order. Reverend Dr. Isidore Kalish, Wynne Westcott, and the Sacred Books and Early Literature of the East adopt the following arrangement. First, he calls the letter B to predominate in wisdom, crowned it, combined each with the others, and formed by them the moon in the universe, the first day in the year, and the right eye in man. Second, he calls the letter G to predominate in riches, crowned it, combined each with the others, and formed by them Mars in the universe, the second day in the year, and the right ear in man. Third, he calls the letter D to predominate in fertility, crowned it, combined each with the others, and formed by them the sun in the universe, the third day in the year, and the right nostril in man. Fourth, he calls the letter K to predominate in life, crowned it, combined each with the others, and formed by them Venus in the universe, the fourth day in the year, and the left eye in man. Fifth, he calls the letter P to predominate in power, crowned it, combined each with the others, and formed by them Mercury in the universe, the fifth day in the year, and the left ear in man. Sixth, he calls the letter R to predominate in peace, crowned it, combined each with the others, and formed by them Saturn in the universe, the sixth day in the year, and the left nostril in man. Seventh, he calls the letter TH or the to predominate in grace, crowned it, combined each with the others, and formed by them Jupiter in the universe, the seventh day in the year, and the mouth of man. 9. With the 7 double letters, he also designed 7 earths, 7 heavens, 7 continents, 7 seas, 7 rivers, 7 deserts, 7 days, 7 weeks from Passover to Pentecost, and in the midst of them, his holy palace. There is a cycle of 7 years, and the seventh is the release year, and after 7 release years is the Jubilee. For this reason, God loves the number 7 more than any other thing under the heavens. 10. In this manner, God joined the 7 double letters together. 2 stones build 2 houses. 3 stones build 6 houses. 4 stones build 24 houses. 5 stones build 120 houses. 6 stones build 720 houses. And 7 stones build 5,040 houses. Make a beginning according to this arrangement, and reck on further than the mouth can express or the ear can hear. Chapter 5. 1. The 12 simple letters H, V, Z, Sh, CH, T, I, L, N, S, O, T, Z, and Q symbolize the 12 fundamental properties: speech, thought, movement, sight, hearing, work, coition, smell, sleep, anger, taste or swallowing, and mirth. 2. The simple letters correspond to 12 directions: east height, northeast, east depth, south height, southeast, south depth, west height, southwest, west depth, north height, northwest, north depth. They diverge to all eternity and are the arms of the universe. 3. The simple letters having been designed, established, weighed, and exchanged by God, he produced by them 12 zodiacal signs in the universe, 12 months in the year, and 12 chief organs in human body, male and female. 4. The signs of the zodiac are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. The months of the year are Nisan, Liar, that's what it looks like to me, Sivan, Tammuz, Ab, Elul, Tisri, Marcheshvan, Kislev, Tebet, Sabat, and Adar. The organs of the human body are 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 kidneys, gall, small intestine, liver, esophagus, stomach, and spleen. Note, in the following 12 stanzas, Newt's sten ring again differs, this time as to the arrangement of properties. First, God calls the letter H to predominate in speech, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Aries, the ram in the universe, the month Nisan in the year, and the right foot of the human body. Second, he calls the letter V to predominate in thought, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Taurus, the bull in the universe, the month Liar or liar in the year, and the right kidney of the human body. Third, he calls the letter Z to predominate in movement, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Gemini, the twins in the universe, the month Sivan in the year, and the left foot of the human body. Fourth, he caused the letter CH or Ch to predominate in sight, crowned it, combined it with the other letters, with the others, and fashioned by them Cancer, the crab in the universe, the month Tammuz in the year, and the right hand of the human body. Fifth, he caused the letter T to predominate in hearing, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Leo, the lion in the universe, the month Ab in the year, and the left kidney of the human body. He caused the letter I to predominate in work, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Virgo, the virgin in the universe, the month Elul in the year, and the left hand of the human body. Seventh, he caused the letter L to predominate in coition, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Libra, the balance in the universe, the month Tisri in the year, and the gall of the human body. Eighth, he caused the letter N to predominate in smell, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Scorpio, the scorpion in the universe, the month Marshaban in the year, and the small intestine in the human body. Ninth, he caused the letter S to predominate in sleep, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Sagittarius, the archer in the universe, the month Kislev in the year, and the stomach in the human body. 10th, he caused the letter O to predominate in anger, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Capricorn, the goat in the universe, the month Tibet in the year, and the liver in the human body. 11th, he caused the letter TZ to predominate in taste or swallowing, crowned it, combined it with the others, and fashioned by them Aquarius, the water bearer in the universe, the month Sabat in the year, and the esophagus in the human body. 12th, he caused the letter Q to predominate in mirth, crowned it, combined it with others, and fashioned by them Pisces, the fishes in the universe, the month Adar in the year, and the spleen in the human body. 6, he made them as a conflict. He arranged them as provinces and drew them up like a wall. He armed them and set one against another as in warfare. The Elohim did likewise in the other spheres. Chapter 6. 1. There are three mothers or first elements, A, M, Shin, from which emanated three fathers or progenitors. Primordial, spiritual air, water, and fire, from which issue the 7 planets or heavens with their angels and the 12 oblique points or the zodiac. 2. To prove this, there are 3 faithful witnesses, the universe, the year, and man. There are the 12, the balance, and the 7. Above is the dragon, below is the world, and lastly the heart of man, and in the midst is God who regulates them all. 3. The first elements are air, water, and fire. The fire is above, the water is below, and a breath of air establishes balance between them. The token is the fire carries the water. The letter M is mute. Shin is hissing like fire. There is A among them, a breath of air, which reconciles the two. 4. The dragon, Tali, is in the universe like a king upon his throne. The celestial sphere is in the year like a king in his empire, and the heart in the body of men like a king in warfare. 5. God also set the opposites against each other, the good against the evil, and the evil against the good. Good proceeds from good, evil from evil. The good purifies the bad the good. The good is reserved for the good, and the evil for the wicked. 6. There are 3 of which each stands by itself. One is in the affirmative, filled with good. One is in the negative, filled with evil. And the third equilibrates them. 7. There are 7 divided, 3 against 3, and one in the midst of them, balance. 12 stand in warfare, 3 produce love, and 3 hatred. 3 are life givers, and 3 are destroyers. 8. The 3 that cause love are the heart and the 2 ears, and the 3 that produce hatred are the liver, the gall, and the tongues. The 3 life givers are the 2 nostrils and the spleen, and the 3 destroyers are the mouth and the 2 lower openings of the body. Over all these rules God, the faithful king, from his holy habitation in all eternity. God is one above three, three are above seven, seven are above 12, yet all are linked together. 9. There are 22 letters by which the I am, Yah, the Lord of hosts, almighty and eternal, designed and created by three seraphim, numbers, letters, and sounds, his universe, and formed by them all creatures and all those things that are yet to come. 10. When the patriarch Abraham had comprehended the great truths, meditated upon them, and understood them perfectly, the Lord of the universe, the Tetragrammaton, appeared to him, called him his friend, kissed him upon the head, and made with him a covenant. First, the covenant was between the 10 fingers of his hands, which is the covenant of the tongue, spiritual. Second, the covenant was between the 10 toes of his feet, which is the covenant of circumcision, material. And God said of him, before Abraham bound the spirit of the 22 letters, the Torah, upon his tongue, and God disclosed to him their secrets, God permitted the letters to be immersed in water. He burned them in the fire and imprinted them upon the winds. He distributed them among the 7 planets and gave them to the 12 zodiacal signs. Fundamentals of Kabbalistic Cosmogony. The Kabbalists conceived of the supreme deity as an incomprehensible principle to be discovered only through the process of eliminating, in order, all its cognizable attributes. That which remains when every knowable thing has been removed is Ein Sof, the eternal state of being. Although indefinable, the absolute permeates all space. Abstract to the degree of inconceivability, Ein Sof is the unconditioned state of all things. Substances, essences, and intelligences are manifested out of the inscrutability of Ein Sof, but the absolute itself is without substance, essence, or intelligence. Ein Sof may be likened to a great field of rich earth out of which rises a myriad of plants, each different in color, formation, and fragrance, yet each with its roots in the same dark loam, which, however, is unlike any of the forms nurtured by it. The plants are universes, gods, and man, all nourished by Ein Sof, and all with their source in one definitionless essence, all with their spirits, souls, and bodies fashioned from this essence and doomed, like the plant, to return to the black ground. Ein Sof, the only immortal, whence they came. Ein Sof was referred to by the Kabbalists as the most ancient of all the ancients. It was always considered as sexless. Its symbol was a closed eye. While it may be truly said of Ein Sof that to define it is to defile it, the rabbis postulated certain theories regarding the manner in which Ein Sof projected creations out of itself, and they also assigned to this absolute not being certain symbols as being descriptive, in part at least, of its powers. The nature of Ein Sof they symbolize by a circle, itself emblematic of eternity. This hypothetical circle encloses a dimensionless area of incomprehensible life, and the circular boundary of this life is abstract and measureless infinity. According to this concept, God is not only a center, but also area. Centralization is the first step towards limitation. Therefore, centers which form in the substances of Ein Sof are finite because they are predestined to dissolution back into the cause of themselves, while Ein Sof itself is infinite because it is the ultimate condition of all things. The circular shape given to Ein Sof signifies that space is hypothetically enclosed within a great crystal-like globe, outside of which there is nothing, not even a vacuum. Within this globe, symbolic of Ein Sof, creation and dissolution take place. Every element and principle that will ever be used in the eternities of cosmic birth, growth, and decay is within the transparent substances of this intangible sphere. It is the cosmic egg which is not broken till the great day be with us, which is the end of the cycle of necessity when all things return to their ultimate cause. In the process of creation, the diffuse life of Ein Sof retires from the circumference to the center of the circle and establishes a point, which is the first manifesting one, the primitive limitation of the all-pervading O. When the divine essence thus retires from the circular boundary to the center, it leaves behind the abyss, or as the Kabbalists term it, the great privation. Thus, in Ein Sof is established a twofold condition where previously had existed but one. The first condition is the central point, the primitive objectified radiance of the eternal subjectified life. About this radiance is darkness caused by the deprivation of the life which is drawn to the center to create the first point, or universal germ. The universal Ein Sof, therefore, no longer shines through space, but rather upon space from an established first point. Isaac Meyer describes this process as follows. The Ein Sof at first was filling all, and then made an absolute concentration into itself, which produced the abyss, deep, or space, the Avir Kadmon, or primitive air, the Azoth. But this is not considered in the Kabbalah as a perfect void or vacuum, a perfectly empty space, but is thought of as the waters or crystalline chaotic sea, in which was a certain degree of light inferior to that by which all the created worlds and hierarchies were made. In the secret teachings of the Kabbalah, it is taught that man's body is enveloped in an ovoid of bubble-like iridescence, which is called the Auric egg. This is the causal sphere of man. It bears the same relationship to man's physical body that the globe of Ein Sof bears to its created universes. In fact, this Auric egg is the Ein Sof sphere of the entity called man. In reality, therefore, the supreme consciousness of man is in this aura, which extends in all directions and completely encircles his lower bodies. As the consciousness in the cosmic egg is withdrawn into a central point, which is then called God, the supreme one, so the consciousness in the auric egg of man is concentrated, thereby causing the establishment of a point of consciousness called the ego. As the universes in nature are formed from powers latent in the cosmic egg, so everything used by man in all his incarnations throughout the kingdoms of nature is drawn from the latent powers within his auric egg. Man never passes from this egg. It remains even after death. His births, deaths, and rebirths all take place within it, and it cannot be broken until the lesser day be with us, when mankind, like the universe, is liberated from the will of necessity. The Kabbalistic system of worlds. On the accompanying circular chart, the concentric rings represent diagrammatically the 40 rates of vibration, called by the Kabbalist spheres, which emanate from Ein Sof. The circle X1 is the outer boundary of space. It circumscribes the area of Ein Sof. The nature of Ein Sof itself is divided into three parts, represented by the spaces, respectively, between X1 and X2, X2 and X3, X3 and A1. Thus, X1 to X2, Ein, the vacuum of pure spirit; X2 to X3, Ein Sof, the limitless and boundless; X3 to A1, Ein Sof R, the limitless light. It should be borne in mind that in the beginning, the supreme substance Ein alone permeated the area of the circle. The inner rings had not yet come into manifestation. As the divine essence concentrated itself, the rings X2 and X3 became apprehensible, for Ein Sof is a limitation of Ein, and Ein Sof R, or light, is a still greater limitation. Thus, the nature of the Supreme One is considered to be threefold, and from this threefold nature, the powers and elements of creation were reflected into the abyss left by the motion of Ein Sof towards the center of itself. The continual motion of Ein Sof towards the center of itself resulted in the establishment of the dot in the circle. The dot was called God, as being the supreme individualization of the universal essence. Concerning this, the Zohar says, when the concealed of the concealed wished to reveal himself, he first made a single point. The infinite was entirely unknown and diffused no light before this luminous point violently broke through into vision. The Hebrew triad. The Kabbalists used the letter Shin to signify the trinity of the first three Sephiroth. The central circle slightly above the other two is the first Sephirah, or Kether, the white head, the crown. The other two circles represent Kokma, the father, and Binah, the mother. From the union of the divine father and the divine mother are produced the worlds and the generations of living things. The three flame-like points of the letter Shin have long been used to conceal this creative triad of the Kabbalist. The name of this point is I am, called by the Hebrews Ehyeh. The Kabbalists gave many names to this dot. On this subject, Christian D. Ginsburg writes in Substance, the dot is called the first crown because it occupies the highest position. It is called the aged because it is the first emanation. It is called the primordial or smooth point. It is called the white head, the long face, the macroprosophus, and the inscrutable height because it controls and governs all the other emanations. When the white shining point had appeared, it was called Kether, which means the crown, and out of it radiated 9 great globes, which arranged themselves in the form of a tree. These 9 together with the first crown constituted the first system of Sephiroth. These 10 were the first limitation of 10 abstract points within the nature of Ein Sof itself. The power of Ein Sof did not descend into these globes, but rather was reflected upon them as the light of the sun is reflected upon the earth and planets. These 10 globes were called the shining sapphires, and it is believed by many rabbins that the word sapphire is the basis of the word Sephirah, the singular of Sephiroth. The great area which had been privated by the withdrawal of Ein Sof into the central point Kether was now filled by 4 concentric globes called worlds or spheres, and the light of the 10 Sephiroth was reflected down through each of these in turn. This resulted in the establishment of 4 symbolic trees, each hearing the reflections of the 10 Sephirothic globes. The 40 spheres of creation out of Ein Sof are divided into 4 great world chains as follows. A1 to A10, Absolute, the boundless world of divine names. B1 to B10, Bria, the archangelic world of creations. C1 to C10, Yetzera, the hierarchical world of formations. D1 to D10, Asaya, the elemental world of substances. The Kabbalistic scheme of the 4 worlds. In the above chart, the dark line between X3 and A1 constitutes the boundary of the original dot, while the concentric circles within this heavier line symbolize the emanations and the worlds which came forth from the dot. As this dot is contained within the outer rings X1, X2, and X3, and represents the first establishment of an individualized existence, so the lower universe, symbolized by the 40 concentric circles within the dot, represents the lower creation evolved out of and yet contained within the nature of the first crown, which may be called God, within whom the divine powers, the celestial beings and sidereal worlds, and man live and move and have their being. It is highly important that all the rings within A1 be considered as being enclosed by the primitive dot, which is itself encircled by the great ring X1, or the Auric egg of Ein Sof. Each of these worlds has 10 powers or spheres, a parent globe, and 9 others which come out of it as emanations, each globe born out of the one preceding. On the plane of Absolute, A1 to A10, the highest and most divine of all the created worlds, the unmanifested Ein Sof, established his first point or dot in the divine sea, the 3 spheres of X. This dot, A1, contains all creation within it, but in this first divine and uncontaminated state, the dot or first manifested. God was not considered as a personality by the Kabbalists, but rather as a divine establishment or foundation. It was called the first crown, and from it issued the other circles of the Atzilitic world, A2 through A10. In the three lower worlds, these circles are intelligences, planers, and elements, but in this first divine world, they are called the rings of the sacred names. The first 10 great circles or globes of light, which were manifested out of Ein Sof, and the 10 names of God assigned to them by the Kabbalists are as follows. From Ein Sof came A1, the first crown, and the name of the first power of God was Iheye, which means I am that I am. From A1 came A2, the first wisdom, and the name of the second power of God was Jehovah, which means essence of being. From A2 came A3, the first understanding, and the third power of God was Jehovah Elohim, which means God of gods. From A3 came A4, the first mercy, and the name of the fourth power of God was El, which means God the Creator. From A4 came A5, the first severity, and the name of the fifth power of God was Elohim Gibor, which means God the Potent. From A5 came A6, the first beauty, and the name of the sixth power of God was Eloah Bada'at, which means God the Strong. From A6 came A7, the first victory, and the name of the seventh power of God was Jehovah Zabaoth, which means God of hosts. From A7 came A8, the first glory, and the name of the eighth power of God was Elohim Zabaoth, which means Lord God of hosts. From A8 came A9, the first foundation, and the name of the ninth power of God was Shaddai El Shai, which means omnipotent. From A9 came A10, the first kingdom, and the name of the 10th power of God was Adonai Melech, which means God. From A10 came B1, the second crown, and the world of Bria was established. The 10 emanations from A1 to A10 inclusive are called the foundations of all creations. The Kabbalists designate them the 10 roots of the tree of life. They are arranged in the form of a great human figure called Adam Kadmon, the man made from the fire mist, red dirt, the prototypic universal man. In the Atzilitic world, the powers of God are mostly purely manifested. These 10 pure and perfect radiations do not descend into the lower worlds and take upon themselves forms, but are reflected upon the substances of the inferior spheres. From the first or Atzilitic world, they are reflected into the second or Briatic world. As the reflection always lacks some of the brilliancy of the original image, so in the Briatic world, the 10 radiations lose part of their infinite power. A reflection is always like the thing reflected, but smaller and fainter. In the second world, B1 to B10, the order of the spheres is the name as in the Atzilitic world, but the 10 circles of light are less brilliant and more tangible, and are here referred to as 10 great spirits, divine creatures who assist in the establishment of order and intelligence in the universe. As already noted, B1 is born out of A10 and is included within all the spheres superior to itself. Out of B1 are taken 9 globes, B2 through B10, which constitute the world of Bria. These 10 subdivisions, however, are really the 10 Atzilitic powers reflected into the substance of the Briatic world. B1 is the ruler of this world, for it contains all the other rings of its own world, and also the rings of the third and fourth worlds, C and D. In the world of Bria, the 10 spheres of light are called the archangels of Bria. Their order and powers are as follows. From A10 came B1, the second crown. It is called Metatron, the angel of the presence. From B1 came B2, the second wisdom. It is called Raziel, the herald of deity who revealed the mysteries of Qabbalah to Adam. From B2 came B3, the second understanding. It is called Zakiel, the contemplation of God. From B3 came B4, the second mercy. It is called Zakiel, the justice of God. From B4 came B5, the second severity. it is called Samael, the severity of God. From B5 came B6, the second beauty, it is called Michael, like unto God. From B6 came B7, the second victory, it is called Haniel, the grace of God. From B7 came B8, the second glory. It is called Raphael, the divine physician. From B8 came B9, the second foundation. It is called Gabriel, the man God. From B9 came B10, the second kingdom. It is called Sandalphon, the Messiah. From B10 came C1, the third crown, and the world of Yetzera was established. The 10 archangels of Bria are conceived to be 10 great spiritual beings whose duty is to manifest the 10 powers of the great name of God existent in the Atzilitic world, which surrounds and interpenetrates the entire world of creation. All things manifesting in the lower worlds exist first in the intangible rings of the upper spheres, so that creation is, in truth, the process of making tangible the intangible by extending the intangible into various vibratory rates. The 10 globes of Briatic power, while themselves reflections, are mirrored downward into the third or Yetzeratic world, where still more limited in their expression, they become the spiritual and invisible zodiac, which is behind the visible band of constellations. In this third world, the 10 globes of the original Atzilitic world are greatly limited and dimmed, but they are still infinitely powerful in comparison with the state of substance in which man dwells. In the third world, C1 to C10, the globes become hierarchies of celestial creatures called the choirs of Yetzera. Here again, all are included within the ring C1, the power which controls the Yetzeratic world and which includes within itself and controls the entire world D. The order of the globes and the names of the hierarchies composing them are as follows. From B10 came C1, the third crown. The hierarchy is the cherubim, Kayath HaKadash, the holy animals. From C1 came C2, the third wisdom. The hierarchy is cherubim, Orphanim, the wheels. From C2 came C3, the third understanding. The hierarchy is the thrones, Aralim, the mighty ones. From C3 came C4, the third mercy. The hierarchy is the dominations, Chas Malim, the brilliant ones. From C4 came C5, the third severity. The hierarchy is the powers, Seraphim, the flaming serpents. From C5 came C6, the third beauty. The hierarchy is the virtues, Melachim, the kings. From C6 came C7, the third victory. The hierarchy is the principalities, Elohim, the gods. From C7 came C8, the third glory. The hierarchy is the archangels, Ben Elohim, the sons of God. From C8 came C9, the third foundation. The hierarchy is the angels, cherubim, the scat of the sons. From C9 came C10, the third kingdom. The hierarchy is humanity, the Ishim, the souls of just men. From C10 came D1, the fourth crown, and the world of Asaya was established. From the Yetzeratic world, the light of the 10 spheres is reflected into the world of Asaya, the lowest of the four. The 10 globes of the original Atzilitic world here take upon themselves forms of physical matter, and the sidereal system is the result. The world of Asaya, or the elemental world of substance, is the one into which humanity descended at the time of Adam's fall. The Garden of Eden is the three upper worlds, and for his sins, man was forced into the sphere of substance and assumed coats of skin or bodies. All of the spiritual forces of the upper worlds A, B, C, when they strike against the elements of the lower world D, are distorted and perverted, resulting in the creation of hierarchies of demons to correspond with the good spirits in each of the higher worlds. In all the ancient mysteries, matter was regarded as the source of all evil and spirit the source of all good. For matter inhibits and limits, often so clogging the inner perceptions that man is unable to recognize his own divine potentialities. Since matter thus prevents humanity from claiming its birthright, it is called the adversary, the power of evil. The fourth world, D, is the world of solar systems comprising not only the one of which the Earth is a part of, but all the solar systems in the universe. The plan of divine activity. According to the Kabbalists, the life of the supreme creator permeates all substance, all space, and all time. But for diagrammatic purposes, the supreme, all-inclusive life is limited by circle 3, which may be called the boundary line of divine existence. The divine life permeating the area bounded by circle 3 is focused at point 1, which thus becomes the personification of the impersonal life and is termed the first crown. The creative forces pouring through point 1 come into manifestation as the objective universe in the intermediate space, circle 2. Opinions differ as to the arrangement of the globes of this last world, D1 to D10 inclusive. The ruler of the fourth world is D1, called by some the fiery heaven, by others the primum mobile, or the first motion. From this whirling fire emanates the material starry zodiac, D2, in contradistinction to the invisible spiritual zodiac of the Yetzeratic world. From the zodiac, D2 are differentiated the spheres of the planets in concatenate order. The 10 spheres of the world of Messiah are as follows. From C10 came D1, the fourth crown, Rashith Hagalagalam, the primum mobile, the fiery mist, which is the beginning of the material universe. From D1 came D2, the fourth wisdom, Masloth, the zodiac, the firmament of the fixed stars. From D2 came D3, the fourth understanding, Shabbatai, the sphere of Saturn. From D3 came D4, the fourth mercy, Zedeg, the sphere of Jupiter. From D4 came D5, the fourth severity, Madim, the sphere of Mars. From D5 came D6, the fourth beauty, Shemesh, the sphere of the sun. From D6 came D7, the fourth victory, Noga, the sphere of Venus. From D7 came D8, the fourth glory, Kokab, the sphere of Mercury. From D8 came D9, the fourth foundation, Lavana, the sphere of the moon. From D9 came D10, the fourth kingdom, Kolam Yosadat, the sphere of the four elements. By inserting a sphere, which he calls the Empyrean, before the primum mobile, Kircher moves each of the other spheres down one, resulting in the elimination of the sphere of the elements and making D10 the sphere of the moon. In the world of Messiah are to be found the demons and tempters. These are likewise reflections of the 10 great globes of Atzilith. But because of the distortion of the images resulting from the base substances of the world of Messiah upon which they are reflected, they become evil creatures called shells by the Kabbalists. They are 10 hierarchies of these demons to correlate with the 10 hierarchies of good spirits composing the Yetzeratic world. There are also 10 archdemons corresponding to the 10 archangels of Bria. The black magicians use these inverted spirits in their efforts to attain their nefarious ends, but in time the demon destroys those who bind themselves to it. The 10 orders of demons and the 10 archdemons of the world of Messiah are as follows. D1, the evil crown, the hierarchy is called Thamiel, the doubles of God. The two-headed, the archdemons are Satan and Moloch. From D1 came D2, the evil wisdom, the hierarchy is called Kajidiel. Those who obstruct the archdemon is Adam Belial. From D2 came D3, the evil understanding. The hierarchy is called Sathariel, the concealment of God. The archdemon is Lucifuge. From D3 came D4, the evil mercy. The hierarchy is called Gamshakoth, the disturber of things. The archdemon is Astaroth. From D4 came D5, the evil severity. The hierarchy is called Golub incendiarism and burning. The archdemon is Asmodeus. From D5 came D6, the evil beauty. The hierarchy is called Togarini, the wranglers. The archdemon is Belphegor. From D6 came D7, the evil victory. The hierarchy is called Harab Sarap, the dispensing raven. The archdemon is called Canaan. From D7 came D8, the evil glory. The hierarchy is called Samael, the embroiler. The archdemon is Adramelech. From D8 came D9, the evil foundation. The hierarchy is called Gamaliel, the obscene. The archdemon is Lilith. From D9 came D10, the evil kingdom. The hierarchy is called Nahamath, the impure. The archdemon is Nahima. The Kabbalists declare that the world's intelligences and hierarchies were established according to the vision of Ezekiel. By the man of Ezekiel's vision is symbolized the world of Atziluth. By the throne, the world of Bria. By the firmament, the world of Yetzera. And by the living creatures, the world of Asaya. These spheres are the wheels within wheels of the prophet. The Kabbalists next established a human figure in each of the four worlds. A1 was the head and A10 the feet of the man of Atziluth. B1 was the head and B10 the feet of the man of Bria. C1 was the head and C10 the feet of the man of Yetzera. D1 was the head and D10 the feet of the man of Asaya. These four are called the world men. They are considered androgynous and are the prototypes of humanity. The human body, like that of the universe, is considered to be a material expression of 10 globes or spheres of light. Therefore, man is called the microcosm, the little world, but in the image of the great world of which he is a part. The Kabbalists also established a mysterious universal man with his head at A1 and his feet at D10. This is probably the secret significance of the great figure of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, with its head in the world of Atziluth, its arms and hands in the world of Bria, its generative system in the world of Yetzera, and its legs and feet in the world of Asaya. This is the grand man of the Zohar, of whom Eliphaz Levi writes. It is not less astonishing to observe at the beginning of the Zohar the profundity of its notions and the sublime simplicity of its images. It is said as follows: the science of equilibrium is the key of occult science. Unbalanced forces perish in the void. So pass the kings of the elder world, the princes of the giants. They have fallen like trees without roots, and their place is found no more. Through the conflict of unbalanced forces, the devastated earth was void and formless until the Spirit of God made for itself a place in heaven and reduced the mass of waters. All the aspirations of nature were directed then towards unity of form, towards the living synthesis of equilibrated forces. The face of God, crowned with light, rose over the vast sea and was reflected in the waters thereof. His two eyes were manifested, radiating with splendor, darting two beams of light which crossed with those of the reflection. The brow of God and his eyes formed a triangle in heaven, and its reflection formed a second triangle in the waters. So was revealed the number 6, being that of universal creation. The text, which would be unintelligible in a literal version, is translated here by way of interpretation. The author makes it plain that the human form, which he ascribes to deity, is only an image of his meaning, and that God is beyond expression by human thought or representation by any figure. Pascal said that God is a circle of which the center is everywhere and the circumference nowhere. But how is one to imagine a circle apart from its circumference? The Zohar adopts the antithesis of this paradoxical image, and in respect of the circle of Pascal, would say rather that the circumference is everywhere, while that which is nowhere is the center. It is, however, to a balance that and not to a circle that it compares the universal equilibrium of things. It affirms that equilibrium is everywhere, and so also is the central point where the balance hangs in suspension. We find that the Zohar is thus more forcible and more profound than Pascal. The Zohar is a genesis of light. The Cepher Yetzera is a ladder of truth. Therein are expounded the 2 and 30 absolute symbols of speech, being numbers and letter. Each letter produces a number, an idea, and a form, so that mathematics are applicable to forms and ideas, even as to numbers, in virtue of an exact proportion and a perfect correspondence. By the science of the Cepher Yetzera, the human mind is rooted in truth and in reason. It accounts for all progress possible to intelligence by means of the evolution of numbers. Thus does the Zohar represent absolute truth, while the Cepher Yetzera furnishes the method of its acquisition, its discernment, and application. By placing man himself at the point D10, his true construction is revealed. He exists upon 4 worlds, only one of which is visible. It is then made evident that his parts and members upon the material plane are, by analogy, hierarchies and intelligences in the higher worlds. Here again, the law of interpretation is evidenced. Although within man is the entire universe, the 43 spheres interpenetrating D10, he is ignorant of its existence because he cannot exercise control over that which is superior to or greater than himself. Nevertheless, all these higher spheres exercise control over him as his functions and activities demonstrate. If they did not, he would be an inert mass of substance. Death is merely the result of deflecting the life impulses of the higher rings away from the lower body. The control of the transsubstantial rings over their own material reflection is called life, and the spirit of man is, in reality, a name given to this great host of intelligences which are focused upon substance through a point called the ego, established in the midst of themselves. X1 is the outside boundary of the human auric egg, and the entire diagram becomes a cross section of the constitution of man, or a cross section of the cosmic constitution, if correlated with the universe. By the secret culture of the Kabbalistic school, man is taught how to climb the rings, unfold his consciousness, until at last he returns to Ein Sof. The process by which this is accomplished is called the 50 Gates of Light. Kircher, the Jesuit Kabbalist, declares that Moses passed through 49 of the gates, but that Christ alone passed the 50th gate. To the 3rd edition of the Cepher Yetzera, translated from the Hebrew by Wynne Westcott, are appended the 50 gates of intelligence emanating from Bina, the 2nd Sephirah. The source of this information is Kircher's Oedipus Egypticus. The gates are divided into 6 orders, of which the first 4 have each 10 subdivisions, the 5th 9, and the 6th only 1. The first order of gates is termed elementary, and its divisions are as follows. 1. Chaos, Hyle, the first matter. 2. Formless, void, lifeless. 3. The abyss. 4. Origin of the elements. 5. Earth, no seed germs. 6. Water. 7. Air. 8. Fire. 9. Differentiation of qualities. 10. Mixture and combination. The second order of gates is termed Decad of evolution, and its divisions are as follows. 11. Minerals differentiate. 12. Vegetable principles appear. 13. Seeds germinate in moisture. 14. Herbs and trees. 15. Fructification in vegetable life. 16. Origin of low forms of animal life. 17. Insects and reptiles appear. 18. Fishes, vertebrate life in the waters. 19. Birds, vertebrate life in the air. 20. Quadrupeds, vertebrate earth animals. The third order of gates is termed Decad of humanity, and its divisions are as follows. 21. Appearance of man. 22. Material human body. 23. Human soul conferred. 24. Mystery of Adam and Eve. 25. Complete man as the microcosm. 26, gift of 5 human faces acting exteriorly. 27, gift of 5 powers to the soul. 28, Adam Kadmon, the heavenly man. 29, angelic beings. 30, man in the image of God. The fourth order of gates is termed world of spheres, and its divisions are as follows: 31, the heaven of the moon. 32, the heaven of Mercury. 33, the heaven of Venus. 34, the heaven of the sun. 35, the heaven of Mars. 36, the heaven of Jupiter. 37, the heaven of Saturn. 38, the firmament. 39, the primum mobile. 40, the Empyrean heaven. The fifth order of gates is termed the angelic world, and its divisions are as follows: 41, Ishim, sons of fire. 42, Orphanim, cherubim. 43, Aralim, thrones. 44, Shashmalim, dominions. 45, Seraphim, virtues. 46, Melachim, powers. 47, Elohim, principalities. 48, Ben Elohim, angels. And 49, cherubim, archangels. The order of the angels is a matter of controversy, the arrangement above differing from that accepted in other sections of this volume. The rabbins disagree fundamentally as to the proper sequence of the angelic names. The sixth order is termed the archetype and consists of but one gate. 50, God, Ein Sof, he whom no mortal eye hath seen. The 50th gate leads from creation into the creative principle, and he who passes through it returns into the unlimited and undifferentiated condition of all. The 50 gates reveal a certain evolutionary process, and it was declared by the rabbins that he who would attain to the highest degree of understanding must pass sequentially through all of these orders of life, each of which constituted a gate, in that the spirit, passing from the lower to the higher, found in each more responsive organism new avenues of self-expression. And with that, we'll end this session. Stay tuned for the Tree of Sephiroth. Thanks for listening in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.